Listen, y'all, I swore. I swore I wasn't going to do bad movies. I swore, because I was like, there's already people who do that. And then I realized, listen, neurodivergent brain, right? It's like, people do that, so you can't. But I watched this movie. Here's what happened, okay? Let me just start out by saying it's spooky season, which means Tubi, which is honestly one of my favorite free movie streaming platforms. This is not sponsored. It's one of my favorite because when I go to work, I turn it on. Bo's not alone. You know what I mean? Hulu doesn't just play. It always asks you if you're still there. You know what, Hulu? Yes, he is still there, but he has paused and he cannot read. So, anyways, I leave Tubi on. And Tubi, likes to recommend things to me. And, I take them up on it. And so I took them up on this. They were like, hey, do you want to watch Wolves? And I was like, you know what? Yes, because I saw Jason Momoa. Okay. I saw him in the picture. I was like, yes, yeah, sure. Okay. Because it's Jason Momoa. It couldn't be terrible. But I was wrong. I was so wrong. Listen. I'm sorry. I completely forgot to. If you're new here, I'm Audra. I do makeup content and media content. And on another channel, I do gaming content. Also on Twitch, I do gaming content. I'm just playing around. I enjoy it. I'm YouTube's only hobbyist because I have a job. I hate it, but I have it. That's the point. So I'm going to get started talking to y'all about Wolves. I swear to you, Jason Momoa just I never wanted this movie to come out. Like, I guarantee you he was like, please, nobody. Or he has a good laugh. Wolves is a movie about a guy named Caden. And it starts with a voiceover, which as an ADHD autistic person, I don't mind that personally for me. Because it lets me know whether or not I have to like fully pay attention, or if I can just like one eye and then like do the other tasks. You know what I mean? Like be like, I'm going to look at this, but also I'm going to play this game on my phone. Do you know what I mean? So it starts off with a voiceover. All right. And it's a guy being like, it's basically like a hi, I'm Ryan voiceover. So I knew as soon as this voiceover started, it was going to be trash. I knew it from the start. I was like, this is going to be hot garbage. And I was ready. I was like, you know what? Cause like my mother, I also watch bad movies. My mom is a sci-fi nerd, and my mom is also super duper into, used to be kung fu movies. I grew up in Okinawa, Japan. We're taking a side trip, and we'll come back into the main road in a minute. And maybe I'll put a timestamp for those of you who are like, I'm so annoyed that you took this side trip. Anyways, I inherited this gene. My mom would buy every kung fu movie known to man. Okay. She would buy, out of the 10 she would buy, none of them were good. None of them. I bet you're going to be like, one? No, none of them were good. But we had a good time watching it. Hilarious. Good time. I do the same thing with horror films. Also fantasy. These are two of my favorite genres. All right. But I like really everything, honestly. But, ooh, do you hear Bo drinking? He's a thirsty boy. Anyways, I enjoy this kind of shit. All right. So like I saw as soon as this started, I was like, I've picked another gem. All right. So it starts out with basically like, I bet you're wondering how I got here. And you know what?
Thing is, a guy like me shouldn't have been having nightmares at all. From the outside, my life was a dream.
The way that they're trying to convince me that this young man is I don't. No. And for all intents and purposes, he is 18 in the film, so I can rate his attractiveness. But I don't know what that has to do with anything. Point is, I didn't find him attractive. He very odd looking man. For me. For y'all, some of y'all may have been like, oh, yes, that's my thing. Simply Lemonade. Listen, if y'all, I'm putting these in like every video because they're so good. Sponsor me. Anyways, so it starts out with this. He's playing football, all right? I don't know anything about football. You know what I mean? I cheered for football for 4 years. What do I know about it? Not a lot. I didn't care for the sport. I still don't care for the sport. Don't at me. Don't get mad. Listen, I don't like it. It's not a good time for me. It's boring. There's too many rules, and it's very arbitrary. I don't understand it. But what I do know is this. The opposing team member is trying to hit Caden, because Caden is the QB. Of course he is. Whenever there's a football movie, you are either the QB or like the wide receiver. Like you can't be anything other than those two things, because those are the two things that are money. It's my understanding. Those are the two things that are money. You're either the quarterback or the wide receiver. The wide receiver catches the ball. These are the things that I know about football. You're welcome. But here's the thing. He gets hit one time. Caden gets hit one time by this guy, and it's pretty jacked up. It's a pretty hard hit. It's like, why did you hit him so hard? Like, it was just unnecessary. All right. So he gets up, and, as QB, he's like, we're going to do this again. We're going to run the play, I guess. Whatever it is he says. And then whatever it is they say in football to get to hut. Is that it? We're going to move on. So then he goes to throw the ball, and he throws the ball. Now, again, I don't know anything about football. Okay? I'm going to show this to you. If I can show it to you, I'm going to show it to you. If I can't, I'm going to explain it. Richard! Now, I'm telling you, again, I don't know anything about football, okay? But what I do know is that would have been like a flag on the play. You know what I mean? A big flag on the play. I understand. You can't just hit people because you want to. He did not have the ball, and the ball had left his hands long ago. So it's obvious that he deliberately tried to sack him. And I feel like that would have been like bad news bears. Bad news bears. But it's not. Anyway, Caden's on the ground, and he's just like laying there, and he just starts like, and he shakes his head. Okay, this is where, again, the second time where I'm like, this movie is going to be just hot garbage, because Caden gets up and flies. I'm not kidding. Like, flies. Like, super dog. Like, there's no need to fear. Underdog is here. Like, whing, like that. Like, literally, I wish I was kidding. Flies at there must be 30 feet between them. I don't know about feet, but I feel like that's a good distance, right? 30 feet, 40 feet, 50 feet, good distance. Flies at the other guy and proceeds to beat him up. And then apparently, like, people are trying to figure out how he flew. First of all, what? So what bothers me about this is that everybody's like focused on him beating that guy up, but nobody's focused on the fact that dude just like hit him unfairly. Okay, listen, that was an unfair hit. Also, if you like this makeup, it's Teresa is lethal, bitch. Anyways, I'm done doing that. We now move on. This is, again, it's so abrupt. He's doing voiceover, telling you like the police are trying to figure out how he did it. The principal, his parents, like everybody's trying to figure out how he flew. I don't really know. We're getting there. All right, we're gonna get there. The movie is called Wolves, after all. You know what's up. So he is in a parked car with his girlfriend, and they're kind of now. Here's the thing I'm gonna tell you right now. Listen, I'm Ace. I don't do that. But here's the thing: if I had just seen my partner fly 30 to 50 feet, all right, fly to beat someone up, I'm not gonna be alone in a park car in the woods with him. Like, absolutely not. Especially if I don't have any answers about it. She's just over there like, it's cool, bro. And she's ready to have her first time. Be careful, I'm a virgin. Of course he's not careful. He's a wolf. Okay? He's wolfy. He's getting a little too handsy, too grapey, if you will. And she is not having it. Good on you, girl. Good on you, right? I'm not victim blaming her. I'm just saying, what would possess you after he flew? But you know what, girl? You were right to get out of the car, run. And this transition, y'all, he grows tattoos on his face. He grows tattoos on his face. And then he wakes up, she's run off screaming. He wakes up, I guess he's in his house on a couch, I guess. And he goes to like rub his head. And this is when we see there's blood on his face. And we're like, oh no, not blood. And guess what? He starts roaming around his house being like, Mom, Dad. And you already know as the watcher, you're like, this is not going to turn out great. You know what I mean? Y'all, his parents have been ripped limb from limb, literally. Their limbs are all around. And he's like, oh my God. And now who arrives but police and his girlfriend? She's like, no, you were good on you, girl. Good for you for reporting it. They ain't gonna do nothing, but I'm glad that you reported it for your sanity. We know how it actually works. But thank you, movie, for being like, she's not supposed to be, get graped. And she didn't. But they're like, that's not supposed to happen. And she reported it. So thank you for that good representation. Now, he is freaking out because he's like, oh my God, voiceover. He's a werewolf. Oh, Jesus. My phone just scared the shit out of me. Listen, don't look at me. But the point is, he is a werewolf, you know? Let me see if it's my mom asking if I want lunch because, yes, I do, Mom. It's not. Also, side note, Janet L., welcome. Welcome to the Patreon channel member, family. Welcome. Anyways, moving on. So now he's just like on the road being like riff-raff because he's a werewolf. And that's what werewolves do. Now, as he's on the road, wandering about, he hadn't killed anybody yet, so he tells us in the voiceover, until this one time. So he runs into a sex worker, for, it's French for purposes of monetization. Sex worker is French. Thank you. Anyways, runs into, they're commonly called, in this particular instance, if they are at truck stops, lot lizards. It's not a nice name. It's not, but that is the name that they are commonly referred to because it is a lot and there are a lot of them. So if you are a trucker or you know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, sex workers. I mean, no disrespect. It's just the name. I'm not trying to be mean. So he runs into her and she's trying to have a good time with him. And he's like, nah, girl, move on. But he sees her again. She's getting attacked by two men. They're trying to her. And she's like, absolutely not. She's not having it either. But she's getting kind of smacked around. And of course, Caden the werewolf isn't having it. Now, y'all, listen. Something I didn't tell you is that he's being called on the news the cannibal kid. They're saying that he ate his parents. Well, I don't even know why they're calling him cannibal kid because he didn't. Well, maybe he did eat his parents because they were torn limb from limb and he is a wolf. Anyways, trying to keep a low profile is what I'm getting at. If you're trying to keep a low profile, I don't feel like you can do that by wolfing out on grapists. Do you see what I'm saying? With your wolfy hand. He has one wolf hand. Anyway, he kills one of them. And that girl is not grateful. She's not grateful. Like, girl, he's not going to eat you. Not in the good or bad way. Oop. Anyways. Get a load of this guy. So he's traveling around. He stops at a bar. Okay, listen. He runs into the most snaggly toothed ass motherfucker I've ever seen in my life. Like, this man needs a dentist or three, Like, it's not good. I think that his name is Wild Joe. Wild Joe is what I'm going to say his name is. And Wild Joe very obviously shows off wolfy characteristics. Shows off very wolfy characteristics to Caden, which for reasons I don't know why Caden didn't pick up on in the first place. And then he comes around to the other side of him, like he appears like a leprechaun. It's very odd. I've never seen werewolves portrayed in this manner, but he kind of pops in and out of places. I don't understand it. I don't know where they got this mythology of werewolves, but here we are. So then he pops over to the other side of Caden because Caden's just like, leave me alone, like whatever, I'm a werewolf, but he doesn't say that, right? So then Wild Joe does it again to like really be like, yeah, life is hard, especially when you're afflicted. He's like, werewolf shit, right? Y'all. Caden and Wild Joe get to talking. Caden ends up finding out from Wild Joe that there's like a pack of wolves living in some other town. And he won't tell Caden, Joe won't tell Caden where that is. And Caden's like, I need to know. I won't. He's like, well, you can't. If you ever find it, don't tell him I told ya. And throws a dart at this, what looks like just a wall, but it's a map. Obviously, it's a map. Throws a dart. And then again, like a leprechaun, gone, right? I don't know who decided that this is what werewolves do. Anyway. So Caden sees this and like at first he thinks like, oh, Joe won't tell me where to go. And like just missed that he threw the dart. And then he sees where the dart is and he goes there, right? He goes to this town. So he goes to the town, rolls up in this bar. Y'all, first of all, I just want to say this about werewolves, okay? All the mythology I've ever read, okay? every story. Like, I'm way into it, right? Patricia Briggs has werewolves. Listen, I even like Twilight and the werewolves there. Okay, listen, I actually, I used to think that I wanted to be a vampire. I want to be a werewolf. Werewolves live just as long. They live really long lives, obviously, because they heal so much. They get to a certain age and then they just like chill out on aging because they're werewolves. But I would prefer werewolf because I would like enjoy running, like that. And also just like eating people who piss me off is just like, it just feels good. You know what I mean? Like, because I don't want to turn you into a vampire, right? And vampires are very like snooty, and I'm not snooty. So I want to be a werewolf, and then you cut me off in traffic, I'm going to find you, I'm going to eat you. You know what I mean? If I let you in and you don't do the wave, I'm going to find you, I'm going to eat you. Werewolf, better. The point is, werewolves can smell other werewolves. They have a good sense of smell, just generally. It's part of the gig, right? So if a werewolf walks into your bar, you know they are a werewolf. Right? Right. So anyway, he comes in the bar. There's a bartender. She's drunk, I guess, and just like drinking the beers. It's a small, shitty town. So I guess that's what they do. So she's drinking the beers and she's having her, and she's like, what can I get you? And he's like, whatever. Y'all, Dreamweaver moment. Okay. Dreamweaver moment happens. I call them this because it happens in like all of these movies where like a white woman enters. No, it's just not a white woman. Where a woman enters and everything stops and a wind machine picks up. It just starts blowing her hair, and her lips, red, rosy, slightly parted. They're always like, and the wind is just like, I don't know where these winds kick up from, but I need one when I enter a room because I am that sexy. Thank you for so long. Every time the hot girl walks in, and she's all right. She's not my cup of tea, but she's all right. Now, when I tell you, we're gonna get that. So she walks in. She's cute. To him, she is everything. Dreamweaver moment. He's like, God damn, where'd you come from, girl? And she's like, ah. And I don't even know if she says anything at that point. But let me just tell you that while he's standing there trying to get drinks or whatever, Caden is standing there trying to get drinks, we pan over to Jason Momoa, okay, whose name in this movie is like, I can't remember. Slaughter. Cody. I can't remember. I'm going to find it, and then I'm going to tell you. Connor. His name is Connor. That was a good time for you, though, right? Was that like ASMR? Anyways, we're going to move on. His name is Connor. When the choice, whoever made this costume choice and was like, perfect. I need to find them and we need to have a conversation. Jason Momoa has like ice blue eye. It's so uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. Like, he's looking at you. Is he like, it's very, the way that his eyes are just, and he's like kind of slouched being, cause he's the alpha, I guess. He's slouched being alpha-y, staring at you it's just, there is nothing more uncomfortable than when you take someone who's dark hair, ruddy skinned, darker feature, and then you put blue eyes on that. So uncomfortable. It makes me itch. Throughout the movie, it's so uncomfortable watching him, like, with these blue eyes. And the thing is, it's like they didn't know that werewolves could have amber eyes. And that would have been saucy. But they were like, no, we're going to go Anglo blue. So here he is. It's a recessive gene. Anyway, I'm going to move on. So he's there. And here's the thing. I can't remember if he walks into this bar first or if this other thing happens first, because my mind, plays tricks. So we're going to talk about both of these things next to each other. And if you decide to watch this movie, you can tell me which thing happens first, because I'm not going to fix it. Because, listen, I'm not. I don't have a lot of battery in. We're going to move forward. So Jason Momoa then leans over with his creepy ass eyes and talks to the blonde girl next to him, who is one of 3 women in this bar, it feels like. Everybody else is a dude, okay? And after the interaction that Caden has with Dreamweaver, the blonde girl comes up and is like, hey, you want some company or whatever? And of course he's like, nah, I'm good. And then she leaves. Now, listen, the blonde girl the Dreamweaver girl whose name turns out to be Angel, she looks at him, she looks at Caden and is like, oh my God, not you turning down the sluttiest girl in town. Girl, if you don't stop slut shaming, first of all, listen, if I were active in the arts, this town is full of dick. I'm gonna get all of it. You know what I mean? All of it. It's a sausage fest here. I don't have a lot of competition. I'm gonna ride every last one of them. Every last one of them. I'm gonna ride all of it. I'm gonna take a ride. Come on, ride a train and ride it. Woo, woo. Yes. So don't be slut shaming her. Rude behavior. Rude behavior, okay? Does she hang out with some ne'er-do-wells? Yes, but slut shaming her to a new person who don't even know her? Girl, that's not girl code. You're rude. Anyway, so they start talking, and then some guy walks up, okay? Because you can tell this is a setup. Jesus Christ, that's my mom asking if I want food. All right, so now one of Jason Momoa's minions walks up to Caden and is like, hey, my girl, meaning the slutty blonde who tried to get some, who's just enterprising, my opinion, is like, my girl says you tried to touch her ass. Now, here's the thing. Okay, listen, I'm going to tell you this. I understand how neo-Nazis work. I've seen many movies and documentaries on it. Don't ask questions about what I watch. And here's the thing. In order for that whole situation to work, she has to like brush against old boy and then like turn around and be like, how dare you? You know what I mean? She doesn't just like walk off. Like nothing happened in that interaction to warrant the situation. So it's just weird that he just like comes up and is like, my girl says you grabbed her ass. Okay. All right, dude. But here's the thing that's funny. This interaction destroyed me. Because this movie, I put my phone up for this movie, okay? I closed my phone. You can snap this closed, right? I had it like this. I was like, don't worry, my phone isn't cracked. This isn't an iPhone. This is a Samsung. And what this means is that the phone itself isn't broken. It's actually just the case. Anyways, so when I started watching this movie, right, I was like, because I felt like I had disappeared into another dimension, like I had missed something, and I had to rewind the movie from the beginning because I was like, and so I went to focus, right? So this moment comes, and I'm just like, did I miss her getting upset? Or no, she doesn't. And so Caden's like, I guess I'll just leave. I don't want any trouble, right? He's like, I'm just gonna leave. So he leaves. I don't know what happened with this choice, but the way the like bully guy is like, yeah, you better leave. Buttercup. Like it really is like that. Like he looks really, first of all, he calls him a buttercup. Because then I'm like, who is this movie meant for? Like obviously they're trying to grab a teen audience, and this is way past Twilight 07. This is 2014. Wolves is a 2014 movie, and I need to say that multiple times because when I get into the effects, y'all, oh my God. Anyways, so him saying buttercup, obviously I guess they're trying not to curse because they want the teen demographic and parents to want to, but then there's sexy. I can't. Anyways, so buttercup. He calls him buttercup, what kind of insult? Like calling me a buttercup?
You damn right you're leaving. Buttercup.
It wouldn't hurt my feelings. Like, even if I was a dude, you know what I mean? I'd be like, did you just call me a buttercup? Like, I would have turned around and be like, did you just call me a buttercup? Like, what the fuck? Anyways, Caden goes off to a farm and ends up finding work there. Now, here's where, listen, this movie is terrible. And the way that it cuts, like, the way that they cut to next scene, you're just like, oh, it's very jarring. You're like, oh, so we're doing something new now. Okay. I didn't realize. So he's working on this farm. I don't know if it's next, like, again, this is what I was talking about. I don't know if this happens or first and then he goes to the bar or what. But he's working on this farm with this old man. I'm going to call him Pop because I can't decide if his name is also Joe or if it's John. I get confused. Anyways, he is working on this farm and the farmer, Pop, is like, these rocks are going to, they ruin all the blades on my tractor, right? Caden's like, hey, maybe I can move it for you. And Pop is like, no, kid, you don't have to do that. That's why I have this other machine or whatever. Y'all, what do you think of when you hear rock? You know, do you think of like rock or maybe like a rock? When I tell you he moved an entire boulder, again, trying to keep a low profile, Caden, and you drag a boulder out from underneath a tractor, a boulder, out from underneath with your bare hands, son. And all Pop says is, well, I'll be damned. Now, again, he is a werewolf, okay? We get that he has a lot of like super werewolf strength, but like he walks into the werewolf bar with the werewolves. They don't seem to be able to smell that he's a werewolf. They're just like, bah. So then he goes into town again, goes back to this bar, right? And this is where Jason Momoa really shines with his creepy blue eyes. He like rolls up on old boy and is just like, I'm just trying to figure out why that old man at the farm took you in. Cause like Caden starts talking to the girl again, Angel, whatever. Angelina, I don't know her name. It's some form of Angel, and I'm just gonna call her Angel. And he starts talking to her, and of course, you know, this is where Jason Momoa comes up and is all like alpha-y, like with his creepy blue eyes, and then he's trying to figure out why Pop has him on the farm. It's very odd, very odd. All right, so apparently, I blacked out during this part, but like this gentleman shows up, and he's all like, "Hey, are you?" Whatever his name, Caden. There we go. I already forgot again. He's like, are you Caden? And then he starts going into this whole thing about like, you know, when Connor finds out who you are or some shit, it's going to be a problem, and references Wild Joe. So yeah, I don't know how I missed it. I think it's because I don't like this man's hair. And the second he came on screen, I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't like the cut of your jib. And oh boy is just like, you know, I just work for him, you know, like whatever, it's fine. You know, it's fine. And, you know, in order, I guess, there's an alpha standoff. In order to avoid trouble, Caden once again leaves. But this time when he leaves, he's riding on his motorcycle, runs into Angel, who like, I don't know if he's walking or riding on his motorcycle. Somewhere there's a motorcycle. I don't know. Who cares? Point is, he runs into Angel again, and she's like, do you smell that? Because he is on his motorcycle. He hears something with his wolf ears. He's wolf ears. You hear I'm saying that? Wolf ears. Because it's both. He's a wolf, and he has ears, and he hears. They're wolf ears. So he hears something, and he slows down on his bike, and old girl's like, do you smell that? It smells rancid. Again, this is why it doesn't make any sense. This is why this movie doesn't make any sense, right? Because she can smell this shit. He can smell this shit. They both know that they're wolves now at this point. They're both like, oh, we're wolves, right? How come? Okay, I'm going to let it go. And then they run into the fact that, like, people in the town, like that Jason Momoa and his weird little gang are jacking up some dude. They're going to eat him. There's a whole thing where they make a guy run and they eat him. I don't know where it is in the movie. It doesn't really matter. So now you have 2 meetings with Angel, and now we're going to go into the third meeting, which is Angel's hanging out and talking about how. I don't even know if that's where it happens. I just knew that at some point. Yes. Okay. So they're in the barn. They're in the barn doing barn things, and they're gonna ooh ah, just a little bit. Just a little. They're going to get it on, right? And Caden's not too keen on getting it on. Porque he's like, Angel, this is the third time. No, he's not. He's not like, this is the third time I met you, because that would, no. He's more worried because of how he wolfed out on his girlfriend in his old town. And she's like, I'm a wolf too. And then she grows tattoos on her back while they're making love. Listen, I don't understand about the wolf transitions, but they're terrible, okay? Listen. Here's what I'm going to tell you. When you see these werewolf transitions, I'm going to start talking about it right now. You see them. I couldn't breathe because it was so bad. It was so bad. I had to like stop breathing while I was watching it because I was like, it kept getting worse. These graphics, these effects for the werewolves. Y'all, you know Michael Jackson's Thriller, right? These effects would have been great in that video, but not in 2014. Terrible. I feel the entire budget for this movie went to Jason Momoa. I guarantee you. So like, These effects are so terrible. I don't understand who's like, they look like live action Thundercats. Like they really do, like live action Thundercats. That's what they look like. They don't look like wolves at all. It's very weird. Anyway, they wolf out and they make love. And Pop is all like, oh. And I guess at some point we find out, this is before. Hold on. Before they get all, do you love all of my weird things for like making love? Because get ready for more. Before that, this is where Caden starts finding out about like wolfy shit, right? He finds out that there's like families of wolves, right? And that he is the son of Connor Slattery is his last name. Slaughtery. Of course it is. Slaughtery. We're going to move on. Of course it is. And of course that's his name. So his mom, Caden's mom is Lucinda, who is the daughter of Pop, right? I think. I'm going to give you this weird rant. And Lucinda was forcefully taken by Connor, and it resulted in a pregnancy. And that pregnancy resulted in Caden, right? And she was so upset. She was hidden from Connor by Pop, okay? Because she was so upset. And then after Caden was born, 3 days later, she unalived herself, which caused Connor to become the monster that we see today. He created a bunch of random werewolves, because there's two ways to be a wolf. You're either born one, like Caden, or you're bitten and made one, right? And there's very few born wolves anymore, especially in this town specifically. Almost all of them are Connor's little lackeys, right? And so they have to, and they spend so much time in wolf form that it's more difficult for the other wolves in town to like fight them because they don't even change really, I guess. And the deal that has been made is that Angel is going to give up the cookie to Connor so that Connor can have a son. Okay, this becomes important later. And then that way he will leave everybody alone. I don't understand it, but here we are, okay? So I say all that to say, like, now Caden is Connor's son. And Caden goes to confront Connor, right? He's like, raw. When he talks in his wolfy face form, yo, I can't. He sounds like Optimus Prime.
Okay then. Who's next? My name is Optimus Prime.
He shows up and like, now I'm going to speed through this because it starts getting ridiculous. So he shows up and starts telling him about like his lineage, starts telling Connor about his lineage. And Connor's just like, yeah, I'm going to give you the same option I give everybody, which is run. Now, this is where I run into confusion because Connor's whole thing was that he was looking at his legacy, wants a son, wants to hook up with Angel to have said son. Here is his son standing in front of him. He's like, I'm going to eat him. What? What was even the point? Like, it negates the whole point for him having a son. Wouldn't it have made more sense for him to like try to like get him to be a part of his crew? Be like, you're my son, so like you need to like be a part of this. Never mind. I didn't write this movie. Whoever did, just crack. So there's a whole fight there, and he ends up really, really hurt from this situation. Caden ends up really hurt from this situation, falls from an impossible height, and he's in a lot of fucking pain, right? Just unimaginable. And like they're telling him he has to change, like he has to change in order to heal, otherwise he's gonna die. And he's just having such difficulty, like roughing out, and like again the effects, like they grow tattoos first, and then they grow fur, like it's. Tattoos, then fur. Tattoos, and then fur. I swear to you, watch the movie. Tattoos, then fur. And this whole thing is setting up for like a kidnapping, which Angel gets kidnapped by Connor. And Connor then also kidnaps the rest of the family for a showdown. And then like Angel ends up getting loose and like Wolverines or like there's a Wolverine move. I don't know why. And the whole thing's just like a battle, right? They set up this battle and they end up like jacking up a lot of the wolves because they've set up all of this space to like like a booby trap. Like they've home aloned the farm is where I'm getting at with this. And they get back and they just jack up all of these wolves. And it's like, woohoo, we got them, you know, yay. But of course, Connor's not going to go out like that. He's not going out like a bitch. He ends up like fighting. Again, I'm still not sure why he was like insistent on the whole like snatching of the bride situation, because it was like, but bro, you have anyways, like why didn't you just try to force him to be that would have made more sense. Like, I'm trying to force you to be part of my legacy and he doesn't want to. So then he's like, well, I'm going to kidnap your girl and I'm gonna, because the thing about the sex scene, we're gonna go back. The thing about the sex scene with those two getting it on, with Connor, Caden and Angel getting it on. It's like, girl, you know you were promised to, like, if you got pregnant, did you not think about that? Because I didn't see nary a condom. We're gonna move on. So all of this is going on. Connor has come out to battle. They fight in werewolf fashion. It's so stupid. I can't. This battle is absolutely ridiculous. I can't figure out who thought that this shit looked good. Like, I need to know who was like, no, this is on point. This is glorious. Like, I have to know. And I just need to know who thought, like, yes, this is perfect. This is fantastic. Like, there's a fight scene. Of course, Caden wins the fight scene. Of course he does. Of course he's going to win the fight scene, because that it wouldn't be a movie. And so then Connor's like, for the record, Lucinda, he's like, I didn't take Lucinda by force. Lucinda and I were in love. And it was her father who threatened to kill her if she stayed with me. So what you're trying to tell me is that in all the interactions that these two had, it never once occurred to Connor to have this conversation. Like, why is it at the tail end of the movie that he's like, oh, by the way, we were in love. And then suddenly he wants, like, I don't... Like, bro, he came to you, told you, like, who he was, and you just, like, didn't believe... Because you should be able to smell it. I want you to... Because at one point, when they're going over the history of the wolves, you know... Like the drunk sister of Angel, who we only see sparingly in this movie. That's why I just call her drunk sister. The drunk sister of Angel ends up saying, like, I knew I recognized that smell, because he's Lucinda's boy. They introduce this off and on. So why, if she could smell, why would Connor, his father, not be able to smell that? I need to know. Why would Connor literally not be able to smell his own son? Like, there's a point in the movie where somebody's like, do you think that he's really your kid? What are you talking about? Please, I'm so annoyed. So then, you know, he's beaten but not forgotten. And then Wild Joe, again, like a leprechaun, appears and is like laughing because he sees Connor all jacked up and proceeds to tell this story about like a whole monologue about how he promised that when he got exiled, he was going to find a way to kill Connor. And that is why he went to all the trouble to find Caden, right? Kill Caden's parents so that Caden would come to this town and mess with Connor so that Connor would get jacked up, be weak, so that Joe could fight him. He says all of this. And Caden goes, wait, what did you say? You killed my parents? And then Joe's like, yeah, sorry, kid. It's the cost of doing business. And Caden goes, why? Were you not listening? He told you why. He did a whole monologue to tell you why the fuck he killed your parents. You're over here like, why? Bro, he told you. He said it. Were you listen? I was listening. Again, bad writing. This movie has so much bad writing. Because they try to wrap it all up in the last 10 minutes of this movie. Ridiculous. So then Joe ends up, killing Connor, obviously. And Caden gets into a battle with Joe. He kills Wild Joe. They blow him up or something. They blow him up. And, ooh, do you hear my stomach growl? I need to order some food. So that's it. Then obviously, Angel and Caden are going to ride off into the sunset. But before that, Pop gives them, a map of all the families. Not like a map, but like a family tree lineage. So that any town that they go into, they can find other werewolves. And I don't know why that would matter because they can't smell each other. They'd probably try to kill him. You know what I mean? He'd like go into town and they'd just be like, ah, you're weird. We don't like you. And of course, the fact that they didn't even, like, they glossed over the fact that Pop was threatened to kill her, threatened to kill his mom, and he's just like, hey, it's in the past. What? It doesn't even mention it. Like, that's part of the story. Doesn't mention it. Doesn't say a fucking word about it. Just like, thanks, Pop. My stomach is screaming. I'm gonna finish this video. So they ride off on their motorcycle. Drunk sister sees them riding and just goes like, pops up out of nowhere. Whoa! Like a true drunk. And that's wolves, y'all. I swear to you, Jason. Listen, first of all, let me just say this. Movies are not filmed in sequential order. Most movies have a film schedule. This is what this is why I went to film school. I didn't finish. I didn't get to like do film school. I took film school courses, but I didn't get to do it. Anyways, we're going to leave that in the past because I'm going to get bitter. But there's a filming schedule, and typically you want to do your action scenes first because if anything goes wrong with them, if it didn't set up properly, the bombs didn't go off, like any of that stuff, you want time to be able to set that back up and you film other scenes, and that's continuity, right? And then you can go back and do it. So you don't go over schedule and over budget. So you don't know how bad this movie is. And I bet you they didn't know how horrible these effects were going to be. Like, I bet you Jason Momoa did not know he was going to end up looking like Lion-O, okay? And I love Lion-O, right? But, like, those are cats. Thunder cats, okay? Not thunder wolves. So it's just like, everything about this movie, it's delicious, though. It tastes good. It's so bad. It's a good bad. It makes you feel bad, and it makes you want, like, Jason Momoa probably never wanted this to ever be seen. And I guarantee you that this movie was not meant to be seen. It's another one of those movies that once, like, they did it with test audiences, they were like, yeah, we're not gonna put this out. This will go straight to DVD. But however, when an actor makes it big, because I feel like this happened, like this was filmed and done before he got big doing Aquaman, right? And then Aquaman does well, and they're like, we're gonna release this pile of trash. Maybe we can make a little bit of money off of it. Now it's on the streaming service. Now it's on Tubi. Y'all, it's nonsensical. It doesn't even make, like, the fact that, like, again, the fact that they try to tie everything up in the last, it's another one of those where it's like, you could have made a good movie, but you didn't. You chose the editing. Whoever chose to edit it this way, bad. Whoever chose the costume design and the effects, bad. It's terrible. And the music. Listen, the end credits roll, and shit you not, it sounds like your local band, and not like a good local band. It's a local band that you never pay to see, right? You paid, entry to see these other bands that came into town, and you're like really stoked about seeing them. You're like, yes, like you paid to see Buck Cherry, right? But this local band is like the opening opener, and you don't want to see them. And they're always like everywhere trying to like hand out flyers, telling you to like stream their music, but they suck and you hate them. Like, you just don't want to hear it. You're like, please, oh my God. And in fact, most of the time you try to show up after they've opened so that you don't have to deal with it. But they're still there hanging around trying to talk to you, and they think that they're going to get chicks, and the drummer's always trying to get with you, being like, did you see my set? And you're like, no. That is what this music sounds like. It's terrible. All of the music. There's a point where there's like a motorcycle sound, like the vroom when they're making love, like vroom. So yeah, that's Wolves. Watch it at your own risk. If you enjoy like really like trashy fantasy movies where they're just like not good, but like it's still good, you know what I mean? It's not good. Maybe I'll just be doing a lot of these. Like, Tubi recommended it. I watched it. Also, please remember that the majority of my makeup content will be live, and either on Patreon and then, made into like a video for y'all. And then this stuff is filmed. So that's where we are. Bingo. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with that, but we'll play. We're going to play. All right. All right. That is it for now. That is the video. If you enjoyed this, please do me a favor. Give this video a big thumbs up. If you made it all the way to the end, drop some wolf emojis along with some cat emojis because of the effects. And until next time, enjoy yourselves. I also want to give a huge, huge shout out to my patrons and channel members, without whom I definitely would not be able to make this kind of content and enjoy myself and have so much fun. I am very excited. Sorry about this hand slapping. If that is annoying to you, I'm sorry. I like doing it. I'm like, ah, ah, ah. Thank y'all so much. I enjoy hanging out with y'all. Movies, makeup, it's a good time in our streams. And, you know, finally, remember, it costs $0 to be kind. You just never know how that kindness can make a difference in someone's day. Like, y'all's outpouring of kindness did so much for me. I was having such a rough time. It is nice to be back to my normal self. So thank all of you for your outpouring of love and caring. Because remember, if you don't take care of your soul, I'm sure as shit coming for yours. Until next time, XOXO, Gothic Girl. There we go. That's, bitch, that's all we ever wanted. All I ever wanted, all I ever needed was him in my arms. Understanding, I don't know the words. Beep, 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 beep,